Hey, what's going on? I'm Keys, host of Sports Vibes TV, and I'm here this All Star Sunday, joined as always by my co host, Stephen Fox. Foxy, how's everything with you?
All is well. Shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the SV Nation. We have lots of great stuff to talk about tonight. Can't wait to chop it up with the SV Nation.
Yeah, we
How are
got a
you?
vote. I'm doing good, as good as can be on this Sunday evening. Thanks for asking. Just want to give a shout out to everybody that we have in chat. We've got JJ, Geraldine McGyver. Thank you guys for tuning in. Foxy, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Why do you always get to say hi to Geraldine first? She's my girl.
We gonna fight over her, I guess.
Yeah, shout out to Harlem 9000. Thank you so much for the kind words. We really love you coming to these shows. So thank you for your support. Buzzer Beater, love touching base with you, chopping it up in the replay gang, in the comments. Fabian Williams, like you said, the one and only JJ. We can't wait to talk to you, hear your thoughts and questions during the show. As Keith says, you're the third host of this show.
Yep, and we got a jam-packed schedule, I guess, for this show tonight. We're going to be talking about a bunch of things. We're going to be talking about how some of the Knicks performed so far in this All-Star weekend and the events they've been participating in. And we're also going to talk about the Knicks and what we have to do in these last 22 games if we're going to move up and try to be a legitimate fourth seed and try to make some noise here in the playoffs. So we did a lot of review, a lot of research, and we pulled some numbers for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy everything we have to present this evening. Now, before we jump into that, let's get into some of the festivities, I guess, for All-Star Weekend. Our guy Quentin Grimes, he performed in the Rising Star Challenge on Friday, and he was, I think, by far one of the best-looking rookies out there on the court. He had 27 points, 10 of 14 from the field, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and also 6 three-pointers made. Now, me personally, exhibition games like this, I don't really take too much from them. I probably take more from a summer league game than I would from the Rising Stars competition. But I think it was nice to see a Nick go out there and look like one of the best players out there on the court. So he definitely represented for the New York Knicks and the fan base. And for that, I was thrilled to see what he was able to do out there.
Yeah, I'm real happy for Grimes. No, this game at this level, there's so much of it is mental, and sometimes you just need to know that you belong. And him balling out against the best players. The only thing that really upset me is that I know Alvarado hit the winning shot, and he's a pit bull and everything about him, but make them co MVPs. The hate for New York is it just extends every time they have a chance not to do something right for the Knicks. They don't do it, but in our hearts, no different than Brunson is an all-star. It's the same thing with Quentin Grimes. He should have been the MVP of the Rising Stars game with his hands down, folks.
He definitely is giving effort on both ends of the court, something you normally don't see in an exhibition game like this. And I like the fact that he was knocking down the three. I mean, we've said it multiple times here on the podcast with Quentin Grimes. I think that his biggest tool or his biggest asset to this team is going to be able to knock down shots. And at times he's been missing some of the open looks. So for him to go out there with the brightest lights and be able to knock down the three-pointer and do it efficiently, I think was definitely encouraging for Knicks fans. So hopefully this is something he can build off of and come back. When's our first game? Next Friday?
Next Friday.
Be able to go ball out there and knock down some more crucial shots because we're going to need them.
Yeah, and the Rising Stars were setting him up. So it was nice that they were setting screens and doing stuff, so, give it to Quentin. So he got the confidence from the team, and I just want him to bring it for, like you said, open the show with these last 22 games leading into the playoffs. And I'm saying playoffs, not play in, that he get those legs, he got a couple days rest this week and come out and play the best he can possibly do, just like he did in the Rising Star game.
And Grimes got some moxie too, because remember he had that little run-in with Scotty Barnes, and I think our last matchup against them, and he was able to knock down a big three over him, and he posted that screenshot on his IG. So I like the fact that Quentin Grimes is taking a little bit, taking a little jab here and there, especially when you had a guy like Scotty Barnes try to show him up on the court, talk about he's not him.
Yeah, maybe that's the Josh Hart effect. That the pit bull in him is coming out. Like, I ain't gonna be so quiet no more. You bite, you don't get too close, I'll bite you.
Yeah, I mean, he also made some comments about Josh Hart as well when they were interviewing him post game, and he was talking about some of the energy that he's brought to the team in these 3 games he's been with us. So, you definitely like to see that is starting to rub off on teammates. I mean, we said it with RJ Barrett, the fact that one of the first games Josh Hart pulls up, you see RJ Barrett diving for loose balls and giving that extra hustle. So Grimes, him mentioning that just confirms what a lot of us had thought when we made this trade for Josh Hart. He's gonna help uplift this team and make it more competitive and give us more of a dog mentality.
Yeah, obviously, if you're a front office, you want to put some guys in trades because of their talents, but it goes beyond that. It also does culture. And the comments he made about Josh, the way he conducts himself, he's a class act, and that's you put him with Brunson and Josh and IQ and the rest of the guys on the team. This is, that's a good culture to build from.
Facts, facts. And then we got to pivot from what went down on Friday to talk about some of the things we saw on Saturday. Now, we had two participants in Saturday's activities. We had Julius Randle in the 3-point contest. Unfortunately, he didn't win, but he didn't make a fool of himself, I would say. I was kind of on the fence. I didn't know what he was going to do. I know he's not that great of a 3-point shooter, but I think he did decent. There were a couple of bad shots. He had an air ball here and there, but for the most part, I think being, short notice, not necessarily preparing. I think they were interviewing him earlier on. He said he was just out there to have fun. He didn't really work the racks. So for a guy that just thrown out there to compete, I think he did a decent enough job.
Me too. He replaced Anthony Simons, and he was having a good time. If I was him, I would have just said, "No, I'm just going to concentrate on the All-Star game." But he was a good sport. He had a smile on his face. The only issue I have is I think one of the worst things in our world from an evil standpoint is the media across so many different topics. There was no reason for them to show Julius's son. I think kids are off limits. You only show a son with a father if they're hugging each other or if they're on the court having a father-son moment, something precious, something like that where the kid, was not happy or is crying. There was absolutely no need to show that. But again, no different than I said about Grimes. This media does everything they can to whether take down Julius. And Julius had a smile on his face, almost like, resurrection that I don't know if I could ever come back from last year, but look at me. I'm at the All-Star game. I'm with my family around the best players on the planet. The media just doesn't get off his back. But Julius, we appreciate all you've done. So your fans are here. But screw the freaking national media. They're terrible. They're despicable.
Yeah, speaking of TNT, man, I got beef with them. The way we'll move on to the dunk contest. The way they were talking about the dunk contest and talking about Jericho Sims, I really wasn't too thrilled about it. Draymond was getting on him, talking about, the dunks he's doing. The feed is dope, but the actual dunk itself is kind of trash and corny and whatnot. I wasn't too thrilled with the way they were talking about Jericho Sims. Now, granted, he didn't have a great performance. I think some of the dunks were, quote unquote, lackluster. But, the guy was out there. He tried. He was another one that kind of got called in last minute. Probably didn't have as much time as he wanted to prepare. I guess he didn't really understand what the dunk contest is. It's not just how high you can jump and things like that. It's the flair, the bravado, the not necessarily level of difficulty, but how you're able to do things that other normal folk out there couldn't even imagine doing. And of course, putting your arm in the rim is something that most people, the vast majority of people in this world can't do. But as a dunk itself, it's not exactly mesmerizing. You know what I mean? Especially, especially when you come into the event knowing that he can jump out the gym, But shout out to him for at least trying and being a good sport about it. I'm glad he doesn't have social media. I don't think he has social media, does he? Or he's not on social media much because I'm pretty sure they're bashing him. So luckily, so hopefully he's not on social media seeing all of it.
Yeah, he's a different type of dude. You see him as a loner because I was saying to myself when I was watching it, like, yo, did he talk to any of the guys and say, hey, what are you doing? You doing a tomahawk? What are you doing? Did anyone talk to you? Because I think they would have said exactly like you said, Keys, like, nah, that's boring, man. You got to get the crowd all amped up. So, but like you said, the TNT announcers, not only with Jericho, they were brutally rude to the guy who won it. So I usually watch TNT games with the audio off if I can't watch the game on MSG. I just despise them. So yeah, like you said, shout out to Jericho. And it's a good experience. Come back, but I don't think it's the type of thing that's going to impact him too much. I think he's on Planet Jericho, so I think he's all safe there.
Yeah, I was always skeptical as to how good he performed in the dunk contest because I didn't really see him as a creative dunker. He's more so an in-game dunker, a powerful dunker, things like that. So it really wasn't his venue. But he gave it a shot. So kudos to him. You would think somebody that has they say he's kind of reserved with that, someone with that type of personality, you would think they would forego an opportunity to participate in the dunk contest. But he stepped up. So you got to give him, kudos for that. And one thing while we're going off on TNT. I hate watching games on their app, bro. Every time they don't have picture in picture. So I watch a lot of the games on my phone. I leave the app. I can't continue to watch the game while I'm surfing my phone or whatever the case may be. And then when I do jump back into the app, they make me sit through a 3-minute ad. And I'm sitting here like, yo, the festivities are going on right now. You got me missing it to watch a BS ad? Come on. And it's 3 minutes at that. At least make it 10, 15 seconds like YouTube. Come on.
Yeah, that or they cut to something that's not happening in the game. So the window of the game is this big and they're having an interview and it's like, I want to watch the freaking game. I don't want to see this interview. Do it at halftime or something, not during the game. So yeah, I miss my MSG, even though I think Monica was there at the
she's part. I don't know if she's part of TNT or one of the other ones that work the NBA games, but I'm not a big fan of TNT. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't like hate like that, man, especially for our Knicks.
Yeah, you get used to it after a while, though. All right, so let's jump into our first topic. Since we're here at the All-Star break, let's talk about the winning percentage. And the Knicks have a 550 winning percentage, their best at the All-Star break since 2012-2013, the 54-win season. They were 32-18 at the break that season. So this is definitely something new for Knicks fans to come into the All-Star break with the team playing as well as it has. What did we win? Our last 3 games before we entered into the All-Star break. And then the last one, we beat the brakes off the Hawks. We locked them up, had them looking like they didn't even want to be out there on the court. So I'm thrilled with the way the team has been performing so far. Of course, I want to see how they perform in the playoffs because we saw 2 years ago the team was firing on all cylinders throughout the regular season, and then we got disappointed when it came playoff time. So for me personally, I'm happy with the way we're playing, but for me to go crazy, I want to see us have this same type of production and type of efficiency and be as effective in the playoffs.
I don't know. For some reason, I have a different feeling this time versus Elfrid Payton. For that Brunson, maybe that Jalen Brunson may be a little more successful than Elfrid Payton was, or D Rose at that time running around on a half ankle because it was hurting him. But I'm real psyched, and that and we'll get into it during these next 22 games. But God willing, we'll be getting back Mitch soon, and we'll go into that. But hey, you look at that, folks, and you say to yourself, right now, extrapolating their wins, I think we're at 45 wins for the season if we just continue the way we're going. But you think about how many games Mitch was out, how many games RJ was out with the finger. Grimes had early in the season with the knee and stuff like that. So yeah.
Don't forget my guy Obi, Foxy. I know you're gonna forget Obi. Obi missed games too. Don't forget him.
Who's Obi? Yeah, for some reason I forgot him. So I don't know why. Like, it must be that stellar defense that I'm all. But even Obi. So I think we talk about it. It happened a couple of years ago with the Knicks. Even though I think they peaked a little too early 2 years ago. I just hope everything comes together. Mitch gets back, RJ gets that stroke back, everybody else, and that we peak at the right time. And if Mitch is there, as that rim protector and everything else, scary team. We're going to go in more detail, folks.
Yep, and you mentioned Jalen Brunson and how having him now, as opposed to Elfrid Payton, should make things a lot better for us come postseason time. And you can see the impact of Jalen Brunson. Here's a tweet from Tommy Bear on the importance of chemistry and leadership and immaculate vibes and all that Jalen Brunson has brought to New York. Technically, chemistry is the study of matter, but I prefer to see it as the study of change. Walter White. The Knicks are in a good place, thanks to Jalen Brunson. Here we go. I have another tweet from Tommy Bear. Total number of 40-point games by a Knicks starting point guard over the previous 15 years, 2. Total number of 40-point games by Jalen Brunson over the past 5 weeks, 3. And the thing about Jalen Brunson is not that fact that he's, scoring, because there are a lot of guards out there that can put up points in bunches. It's how efficient he is and how confident you can be as a Knicks fan when he has the ball, that he's either going to put up a good shot or at least get a teammate an open look. And that's something that we haven't been able to say as Knicks fans in a long time. When was the last
Yeah,
time we were able to say that about our point guard, Stephon?
yeah, a
I know
long time
Felton
ago.
had a year where he was going crazy, but
Yeah, no doubt. But like you said, the impact. I think it was the last game in Atlanta. The game's over. I think Jalen's doing his interview with Rebecca Harlow, and Randall came over. When was the last time you saw him playful like that, with a smile on his face? The guys are goofing. Then after the game, they're interviewing RJ, and he makes a comment like, Brunson's making fun of my hair, man. He's crazy. So for the professionalism on the court and to keep it loose in the locker room and off the court, you could not have a more impactful. This is the best free agent signing I think ever for this team. Obviously Melo and stuff, but that's like 100 years ago. So the front office, flowers for them. Great on the court, great off the court. We talked about culture a second ago. This guy, as we said, he's a brand New York point guard.
yep, he's been balling for us, man. When we first signed him, I didn't know he was going to be this good. To be honest with you, I knew he was going to be a decent player, solid, definitely be an upgrade at the position, but I didn't think he was going to be performing at this level. He's an elite guard right now, at least statistically. If you look at what he's doing compared to other guys like John Morant, guys like Donovan Mitchell, he's not far off in what he's doing per game, and he's a lot more efficient than some of those guys as well. So I'm thrilled with the performance that we've been getting from Jalen Brunson. I just hope he can continue to build upon it and continue that level of production come playoff time, because we know he does sacrifice his body a lot, and just wanting to get to that playoff period, healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, and I'll keep saying it. He's an all-star, man. Seeing Drew Holiday and stuff. How the hell is Drew Holiday there and not Jalen Brunson? Are you crazy? I have
It's
great
Drew
respect.
Antetokounmpo now, whatever that was on with the skills challenge. I don't know what they're doing with that
Do you
nowadays.
think Giannis brothers would be playing if Giannis wasn't a superstar?
And he wasn't even playing. I'm like, at that
I
point, you got to
know.
scrap it. You just got to try
No,
something else.
I know, but God, Brunson, you can't help it. Really, I love this guy, man. He's a class act on and off the court, and just love his vibe.
Definitely been a big fan of what he's been able to do for us so far this season. Now, speaking about someone else that has a connection to Jalen Brunson, let's get into a little bit about Josh Hart. So this is a quote from Quentin Grimes. Here it says, Quentin Grimes on a diminished role of late since Josh Hart's arrival. It's not about minutes. It's trying to win games. He helps us win games, and that's the main thing. So you talk about the culture, and it has to be about the team. And Tom Thibodeau has always said it, it's about the team first, even though I don't necessarily agree or believe that he's being honest when he says it, because he's made some decisions that weren't necessarily team first. But you can see the guys are picking up that mantra and running with it. So for Quentin Grimes to have this type of view, I think is dope, because he could always be the other side where he says, oh, I'm losing minutes. I'm upset. I'm a little bit disgruntled. I want to have an opportunity elsewhere. But for him, he's taking it in stride. He's saying, listen, we'll do whatever we have to do in order to win games. And with the way we've been playing, we can make some noise in the playoffs. So if I have to sacrifice my game a little bit for the greater good of the squad, I'm willing to do it. And you love to hear that from guys, especially young guys that you think have a lot of promise and things like that.
Yeah, you have guys like that say that make the front office and the coach and the teammates say, "Yo, I love playing with like a guy like that." And then you have guys like Bones Highland, who's just the opposite and gets traded because the team's like, no, this is an me, myself, I guy. And I can't, I don't care that he could shoot the ball like that. He's not a winning player because it's about him. Let's move him. So I'm real happy. Like we just talked about Brunson. Who says these things? And I think they're sincere too. I really feel they're sincere. They're not. Sometimes you hear a guy say it's like his media coach told him to say that. I don't get that vibe from Quentin Grimes. I think he's real quiet dude, and it's just the right thing, man. That's the type of thing. It's like, yeah, it's about the team. So you got Josh like that, you got Jalen like that, you got Quentin like that, and the other guys. That becomes contagious, and then that's when you play you become a dangerous team when you like each other and you're playing in team ball.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing it reflect on a guy like Julius Randle. You mentioned how you haven't seen him so happy out there on the court and things like that and playful with his teammates. When you have a bunch of guys on this team that are willing to sacrifice and are willing to do some of the smaller things that's needed for a team to win, you have a guy like Julius Randle that's then willing to buy in because he sees everybody else doing it and he can't be the one that sticks out like a sore thumb and decides not to. So definitely, this front office, they're doing a good job bringing in not only good players but also quality people, and I think that's definitely important when you're trying to build a foundation, especially when the ultimate goal is to win a championship.
I know
You
we
can have
keep
some malcontents here and there,
yeah,
but the majority have to be solid dudes.
yeah. I know we keep bringing up Brunson, but how can't you? His impact on Randall, that taking the pressure off. Where prior to him getting here is like, if I don't do this, we're not going to do anything. Now for him to have somebody that, whew, this guy's clutch, he's unbelievable in the clutch in crunch time, and he's effective, he's efficient, and everything else. He does the right thing. Wow, look at him take another charge. He's doing everything that little guy to make us win. So yeah, I think he's happy, and he was wearing a really, really nice Versace jacket yesterday, Jules. So I was like, "Yo, you should pick up one of
Versace,
those."
Versace.
Yeah, exactly. You should be picking up one of those for Jalen. It'd be the twins.
Yeah, man, they did our guy Jalen Brunson wrong because Giannis didn't perform in that skills contest or whatever they call it nowadays. So he's not. I would assume he's not going to be available for the All-Star game. That's a opening right there. We could have had Jalen Brunson take. DeMar DeRozan. I'm not sure what his status is. He says he wants to play, but that's another guy.
Forget about his status. Is just his stats. I'm serious. You just who has had this many 30-point games? True. Who's had this many 40-point games and efficient? He had 40 points the other game, 0 turnovers. Yeah,
they did him 30, but they had an opportunity to kind of remedy it by making him an alternate, but they still haven't done that. They dragged their feet. He should be there performing tonight. He should be
there performing tonight without any question. And if I don't see Jaylen Brown play, if he doesn't play, the hate's gonna come out for how could you do this to our guy Brunson, man? Stop this shit.
Definitely should have been the alternate. So far, we got 74 in chat. Thank you all for tuning in on this Sunday afternoon or evening. We only have 15 likes, though. Do us a solid, smash that like button. Also, if you aren't subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. Foxy and I go live Sunday 6 p.m. unless there's a Knicks game and we adjust, but we'll let you guys know about that beforehand.
And if you can't catch it live, shout out to the replay gang. We love chopping it up and answering, just talking with you and all those. So drop those comments. We love them.
B. Willis says all we need is 2 more Villanova guys, no more Blue Devils. Hey, I would be open with them trying to go out there and get Bridges. He's getting real cozy with Quentin Grimes on Twitter. They've been going back and forth. They were talking about the All-Star game and throwing some shots here and there. Not the All-Star game, the dunk contest and throwing shots here and there. And he has a good relationship with both Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. So I'd be open to bringing in some more Villanova guys, especially if that guy is Mikal Bridges.
Me too. That would be a dynamite trio. And like we said, just added another one to the dog pound. And he got 2 dogs, and now another one changes the identity of this team like that.
Got another dope comment from B. Willis. It says, you can tell Jay Hart wants the New York stage. And this is important because not every player can flourish in New York, whether it's basketball. I mean, if you're a Yankee fan, you've seen it in baseball. As a Mets fan, I've seen it even in football. There's guys that just can't deal with the bright lights of New York City. And for us to bring in a guy like, Josh Hart, who does all the little things and is able to step up in some big moments. I mean, already we've seen him knock down some clutch threes. And the biggest issue, I think, or one of the biggest issues when we acquired him was whether or not he's going to be able to knock down the 3 efficiently. And he's been able to do that since he's been here. So he's living it up. He's stepping up stepping it up here in New York City, where, sometimes it can be a little bit too much for other players. So that's definitely a good point, B. Willis. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, but the rebounds, the assists, like you said, smacking his chest, looking at that. Yeah. As a Yankee fan and stuff like that, I've lived through guys that they're wonderful in Kansas City. They're fantastic in Pittsburgh, and man, they play like shit here in New York.
Crazy. You make it here, you can make it anywhere. That's what they say.
They should have a song like that,
right? let them come to me so I get a little bit of royalties off it. Bricks Nation says, salute Key, salute Foxy, salute to my diehards in the chat. Friday can't get here soon enough. Facts. I mean, we'll see Randall play in a few hours. So that can, I guess, hold you over for a little bit.
Salute Bricks. Hope all is well with you and the family.
JJ says we could still end up with 2 first-round picks, but the Wizards playing well. Let me go on Tankathon, see what the Wizards is doing.
Yeah, they're a top 14 protected.
Yeah, top 14 protected, and right now they are tied for the 10th pick if the lottery were to go now. And for them to get to 15, they're only a half game out of the 15th seed. So we definitely could end up getting Washington's first round pick. I think that would be nice too, especially seeing that we traded ours in order to get Josh Hart. So if we get the Wizards first round pick, maybe we can get 2 young players towards the back end of the draft, even though with Tom Thibodeau as your coach.
I was about to say, wait a minute. For a second, I thought you said Tom Thibodeau with 2 rookies.
Yeah, it's more likely that they'd package the 2 and move up or something.
Yeah, I don't think he'd play Scoot Anderson.
That's a good one. All right, let's get into the next slide we have for you guys. So let's look at what the team has been doing so far to this point. Oh, you hear the ESPN notification? All right. So far, Knicks are averaging 114.6 points per game. That's 14th best in the league. Rebounds, we're still rebounding like we,
like we never miss Mitch.
Yeah, like we never miss Mitch, and like we got a point to prove. Rebounds, we're still 3rd best in the league at 47 rebounds per game. Assist, still hella low, 29th in the league, only averaging 22.4 of those per game. Our field goal percentage, only shooting 46.1% from the field, which is 24th best in the league. 3-point percentage is at 34.5%, which is 23rd in the league. And then free throw shooting, we're at 77.1, which is 23rd in the league. So you can see offensively, team is not really clicking. Some players have been balling out. We mentioned Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle. Those 2 have really been clicking. But I think the other guys have been somewhat inconsistent from game to game, which is, understandable. They're, for the most part, role players, and that's what you expect from role players. You just hope that they can find a little bit of a consistent stretch of games. Hopefully a guy like Quentin Grimes, who we've been talking about, hopefully he can start knocking down some more threes, help get that 3-point percentage up. He's supposed to be a knockdown shooter for us, and we saw what he can do in the Rising Stars Challenge. We just need him to do that now in game a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah, I think they set more screens in the Rising Stars game for Quentin Grimes than the New York Knicks do.
They ran a modern offense out there. Yeah. Well, I don't know what we're doing over here.
Yeah, so it seems like poor Quentin only gets a kick out with 4 seconds, 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and they're like, boy, he seems to be rushing his shot. Yeah, well, look how much time is left on the shot clock. So, like you said, if a couple of guys, and we'll get into it in a second, a couple of guys could pick it up and we peak at the right time, hopefully those numbers, and also those assist numbers, were so ISO heavy. So that you see, Jalen and you see Randall. So, and if they're hitting, they're just going to keep, doing it. So it reflects that thing. So we've had some big wins, and you're like, wow, beautiful. Wow, we hit 17 assists. Wow, great win. Wow, we had 17 assists again or something. And so it's like, yeah, we're real ISO heavy, but we have to, getting into the playoffs, we're going to have to change that up a little, because they're going to be doing different defenses on us.
And that's why I think a lot of people have issues with Tom Thibodeau, because we believe he'll be a good coach throughout the regular season. It's just when it's time to, when the playoffs come, is he going to be the right coach in terms of, drawing up plays and things like that to help us advance round to round? And I think a lot of fans are kind of skeptical. And this will be Tom's, opportunity to prove us wrong. Go out there this playoffs and do what you have to do in order to get us to the second round. Because I think this team, as currently constructed, is good enough to at least get to the second round. I said we were going to win 46 wins heading into the season. You have us at this pace, we'd win 45. So it's a solid team. If we can continue to, play well, we might even be able to get home court advantage, even though we might be better off not getting home court advantage, seeing how we've been performing away. So Remains to
Thank
be
God
seen.
finally have a winning record at home, and now with Josh Hart, I think we'll have a different attitude. But yeah, I'm psyched, man.
Facts. All right, let's look at the analytics now. Offensive rating, you have the Knicks at 116.7, which is sixth best in the league. Defensive rating is at 114.4, which is 16th best in the league. Net rating is plus 2.3, which is eighth best in the league. Offensive effective field goal is at 52.9, which is 24th in the league. Defensive effective field goal percentage is 52.8, which is fourth in the league. And pace, we're at 96.7, which is 27th in the league. And as you can see, we're trending up. Some of these numbers aren't necessarily in the upper echelons, like offensive effective field goal percentage and pace, but we're working on it. We're getting a little bit better, and I think we over the last couple of games, we definitely see what this team can do when they're firing on all cylinders, especially that game against the Hawks. So hopefully we can continue to come out of this break and play the same way.
Absolutely. Just get that defense just real tight, everyone communicating, knowing their guy, offense, best, the whole thing is what Tibbs talks about. And I respect it. It's not having, shooting the three, it's shooting an open three. So, we want, Randall, don't do that dribble, step back. That's a contested three. Kick that ball around. And we want those open threes. So yeah, they're trending up as you can see, folks, at the right time. And 22 to go. Let's balls to the wall. Let's go get it.
Right. So we got a super chat from Buzzer Beater. Thank you for the contribution. We really do appreciate it. He says, "Tell me we are not trying to sign Melo or Russ. I hope we aren't trying to sign any one of them. I think Melo has been rumored to go over to Phoenix, and Russ, there's some rumors that he may go to LA. He just came from LA, but I mean the Clippers. So hopefully that's where those two guys go and they don't come over here because we don't need them. Not
Yeah.
one bit.
And again, Buzzer Beater, man, you're so cool. Thank you for all your comments, all your, your support. You're awesome. If nobody told you today, let us tell you that you're awesome. But God, I hope we don't sell Mello or Russ. So at this point, the only I think Nick Batum may be available, but you know what? Let's just go. Let's go. What we got. Everyone's getting tight and batten down the hatches. Everybody know their spot. Let Tibbs get his rotations, and hopefully there'll be a little few more so he keeps the guys fresh. But let's rock and roll.
And I think when you look at us in terms of guard play, I think we're good. The only thing we might need is a backup four. God forbid Obi gets hurt or something like that. But even then, you have a guy like Jericho Sims. I think you can move down a little bit and play at some minutes at the four. Even though I do have to admit, when we saw Sims and iHeart on the court together, it really wasn't a great pairing. But if something you have to do, for a game or two to overcome an injury here and there, I think it's something that we can still do
And
solid with.
don't forget, we saw a crazy stat last week. Zion Williamson and a few others. Josh Hart playing the four. So that guy is a dog and a half, and we've seen guys in this league, PJ Tuckers and other things like that. So if Obi doesn't get the dog in him for these last 22 on the defensive side, rebounding and boxing out and doing what you have to, I think Tibbs won't think twice if the matchup lends itself well to get putting a different putting Josh in there at the four.
I don't even think if the matchup presents itself, it's just if Tibbs don't want to see Obi out there, he's pulling them
Yo, you're
quick,
so
fast, and in a
cool.
hurry.
Yo, there's
Let
the
me see though.
hook.
I'm trying to see though if I can pull up how many minutes Hart has played at power forward in his career. So in his career, he's played about 5% of his minutes at the four. Most recently, he did it in Portland. 2% of his time on the court was at the four position, and then he also split time at point guard. He spent 1% of his time at the point guard position, 20% of his time at the two, and then 77% of the time at the three. Who's calling me? Mom Dukes is calling me. Gotta tell her to text me. Yeah.
We
So
love you.
love you too, Mom. So yeah, so Josh Hart definitely an option at the power forward position.
You can even throw RJ at the four. And, there's different lineups that they can go that way.
Yeah, and that's the thing about some of these guys. They're versatile. You have guys like Quentin Grimes can play multiple positions. You got guys like Emmanuel Quickly can play multiple positions. RJ Barrett can play multiple positions. Even Julius Randle could play multiple positions if he wanted to bang down low and be a center. So I think if you look at this team and what we can do with the versatility of the roster, offensively and defensively, Tibbs, you got to step up come playoff time and put these guys in the best position to succeed. And hopefully he's able to do that.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's move over to the next slide. Once again, Buzzer Beater, thank you for the contribution. I really do appreciate it. So now let's look at what this squad is doing so far this season. As you can see, Jalen Brunson, he's got a lot of green over there, both in both points per game and his 3-point percentage. I think as of right now, he's the best 3-point shooter on the team, if I'm not mistaken.
He is. He
And that
is.
was another question too with him coming to the team. Would he be able to, knock down the 3-point shot efficiently? Because in Dallas, he really didn't put up a lot of threes, and now we're starting to see him put up more threes than he did over there, and even shooting them at an even better clip. So I think that's definitely encouraging. You look at Julius Randle, we see green in points per game, rebounds per game, guaranteed double for the most part. You look at RJ, he's come down now under that 20 points per game, but hopefully in this second, not even the second half, but in these last 22 games, he can kind of, up that scoring so we can have three of these guys averaging 20 for the season. So, Foxy, anything jump out to you?
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. Because of this, the league has changed. You have to hit those 3-pointers, at least at league average. And those things are in red because they're below league average. And what we said is, we don't want to lose playoff games or key games because of foul shooting. So we need, Quentin 80%. We want eights there. We'll let the fives get away with seven in the 70s. But if you're playing 2, 3, 4 in this league, you better be shooting around 80%. Or the league average is 78%, so at least 78%. And so we're hoping they get there, and especially at these last 22 games, it's the difference of winning and losing games, foul shots. And so please, guys, take your time, take a deep breath, get yourself together. Don't rush your shots. Think about your form and let that muscle memory kick in and hit those foul shots. I think you're muted.
My
There
bad.
you
Yeah,
go.
would definitely like to see an uptick in the free throw shooting from RJ and Julius Randle. But one thing I do like is the fact that Jericho Sims has been knocking down his free throws. He doesn't take a lot of them, but that was something we wanted him to improve coming into the season. So to see him start to knock down the free throws is nice. Also, I want to see him expand his game a little bit more offensively. I saw a highlight from his time in high school. And he's got a little bit of a crossover. He's got a little bit of a midi. He can do some things offensively. Let's see if he can start to do some of that a little bit more. Of course, he's filling in for Mitchell Robinson, so he'll probably be relegated back to the bench once he comes back. So Jericho Sims, take an opportunity, seize the opportunity, go out there and show us what you can do offensively. I think he can show us a little razzle dazzle. I mean, we've seen him attempt it a little bit, but for the most part, he really doesn't test the defense too much. I want to see him start to do a little something offensively.
Yeah, we've seen him bring the ball up with handles, and we're like saying, "Yo, if Mitch could take Mason Plumlee off the dribble, cross him over for a dunk, Jericho should be able to do that too." Because look at his handles and stuff like that. And also, like you said, I'd love to see him just take a little midi. Doesn't pop it in there and pick and pop or whatever, and expand this game. Hey, we've seen a really nice little jump hook. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I think the last game, folks, it was garbage time, but him and Deuce have really nice chemistry. So they gave each other the eye. Deuce fake left, went across the lane. He threw up a lob for Jericho to put it in. So I love seeing that chemistry. So yeah, let's see his game develop, and we'll go from there, man.
Yeah, Deuce, QG, and Jericho Sims all have pretty good chemistry out there on the court together. And I think that's from playing, two summer leagues together where they were the engines of that team. I think everything ran through, well, let me take that back. Their first it's their first time in summer league. It was Quick and Obi that was running the show. But year two, Quentin Grimes kind of took over. Deuce was doing this thing, and Jericho Sims and QG had a nice little two-man game out there. So I like to see those guys continue to build chemistry. Unfortunately, Deuce is out of the lineup, but we talked about injuries. If there is an injury, Deuce is a guy that I think is always going to be prepared. He's always going to play lockdown defense, and we just need him to knock down his shot a little bit more, which he was doing. It's kind of crazy. As he was starting to knock down his shot, that's when we brought in, Josh Hart.
Josh,
But
yeah, poor guy.
yeah, it is what it is. But Josh Hart bigger than him. He can do similar things in terms of defense.
Sees the floor
Uh,
better.
sees the floor better, which is kind of crazy seeing that Deuce is a point guard per se. At least he was advertised as a point guard when he got drafted. But it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we have a super chat from the wonderful Avery's daddy, Adele Chapman.
Yep. Salute to Adele. Thank you for tuning in. He says front office let his feelings get in the way trading Obi. They probably should have made a deal for Obi at the trade deadline, and if not, they should make a move this offseason, especially if he's going to be playing 8 to 15 minutes per game, because all you're going to do is come next trade deadline is continue to devalue him, and we are going to get anything for him. Look at what some of these other guys got. Sadiq Bey, 5 second-round picks. Rui Hachimura, 3 second-round
Yeah.
picks. What are we gonna get for Obi Toppin if we decide to trade him? 2?
I don't know, maybe 2 in that Versace jacket we were talking about earlier. I don't.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't
They
mind them
gotta
not
do something.
trading him because if I'd rather get some value. I don't want a penny on the dollar. We still have him under contract for 6.8 million, and if we get some run, next year, or we don't even know this year, things happen, that his value could go up. So hopefully Obi can find himself. We know from offense, it's just, son, please hang out in that film room and take defense seriously. It's going to change your career if you become a lockdown defender. Or I won't even say lockdown defender, just a dependable. You're in the adequate, that you're in the spot you're supposed to be. You box out, you rebound, and every once in a while maybe you could have a weak side block with those hops that you have.
And one thing with Obi, he's been shooting the 3 ball. Been trending downwards as the season has gone, but for the most part, overall, he's been shooting the 3 ball pretty decent, 35.1% from the 3-point line. So that's good. I think the biggest issue though is that field goal percentage. Should be shooting the ball at a much higher clip than 41.6%. You look at a guy like Emmanuel Quickly, he's starting to percolate. He's gotten that field goal percentage over 40%, which is a key, something that he was going to focus on coming into this season. So it's good to see that he's actually achieving that goal. He's shooting 43.7% from the field, and he's only shooting 35.2% from 3. So, serviceable, decent, but would like to see him get that up a little bit higher to, 39, 40% if possible. He came into the league viewed as a sharpshooter, and when he's hitting his shots, the Knicks are really tough to beat. So we need him to up that 3-point percentage a little bit more. But other than that, I think Quick has been great so far this season, averaging 12.7 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game, and 1.1 turnovers per game. And he's very complimentary to Jalen Brunson. I think when those two guys are out there on the court together, they really do vibe and feed off of each other.
And folks, I wouldn't be surprised he's second team all defense this year. That's his stats show it. So defensively, all those things, we're seeing him develop. We've seen that little, midi that he's brought in this season, using his left hand to the hole, hezzy dribbles and stuff like that. And Hart, we talked about it last week that his percentage wasn't so great in Portland. He's only shooting 2 times. It's hard to get in a rhythm. So it's the same thing with Obi, with the minutes that Tibbs has been giving this poor guy. In the last game, I'm like, why the hell isn't Obi getting more minutes? Come on. We're winning this game. Randall looked beat. He looked tired. I know he came up big down the stretch, I think, in the third or fourth quarter, Randall, but Obi, he should have got more minutes. But I feel for the guy. It's hard to get rhythm when you don't have enough time.
Definitely. Also, we got a super chat from Buzzer Beater. Thank you for supporting the stream. Says, if RJ has a bad player, is he gone this summer? I think he's probably gone this summer, because then you don't have the poison pill. So
July
1st.
Yeah,
so they probably move off of him. And also, I said in the last stream, the stats show that 2 of the 3 really play well on the court together. It's when all 3 of them are on the court. And when I say all 3, I mean RJ, Brunson, and Randall. When all 3 of those guys are on the court together, the team is not as high powered as you would expect. It's when either Brunson and Randall are on the court together, Brunson and RJ, or RJ and Randall, is when you really see the team start to play, great basketball. So I could definitely see RJ being moved in the summer if he doesn't have a good playoff. So I can see him being moved if he does have a good playoff and his value is up. They might use him in another piece or some picks in order to bring in another player that can help get us over that hump and put us into championship contention. So thank you
Yeah.
for the question, Buzzer Beater. Foxy, anything you want to?
Yeah, I think I was talking to Buzzer Beater during the week on this, that, some of the rumors is after the season, maybe RJ goes up to Toronto, where his hometown, and OG goes to the Nets, and we get Mikal Bridges. Something of that ilk with some other things probably thrown in. But yeah, I have no problem saying goodbye to RJ and saying hello to Mikal Bridges, another Villanova boy. So yeah, I hope RJ. But again, folks, it comes back to defense. I hate to say this, but again, go to Basketball Reference. They're 9 points better with him off the court. And you see him, on the previous slide, 19.7. So these guys putting up 20 points. So you're like, that's fantastic. But then you're like saying, but he's giving up 29. So, that's the issue, especially when you have an IQ, especially when you have a Grimes, and especially when you have a Josh Hart in closing, that, you need stops. And we've seen RJ that, all the issues of him being, physically challenged, just doesn't, guys just blow past him. He just doesn't have the lateral or twitch muscle, for him to do anything. So it'll be interesting to see Tibbs, what he does in closing time, whether RJ, how much burn he'll get, especially if he's having a bad defensive game.
Yeah. Salute to CJ. He says Nets not letting Bridges go anywhere, especially after that 40-point performance he had. I'm trying to see what Bridges can do as the guy on a squad. And for him to have that 40-point performance is definitely eye-opening. He struggled against us. It is what it is. But for him to go out there and have that 40-point game, I think was dope. And I would understand if the Nets don't want to move off of him. He is a special talent. And with the opportunity to be the guy, he could, prove to be a top 15, top 20 player at some point. But if the Nets are willing to take a guy like OG and give us Mikal, and we give him a couple extra picks to help make the deal get through, I'll be open for that. You gotta pick up the phone right now and give him a call. Well, not right now. You know what I mean, in the off season.
Or call mom and have mom call them.
They're gonna take another second round pick from us, man. And as you can see, those are pretty valuable nowadays.
Yeah, I know. But hey, we'll see how this season ends. But yeah, in a perfect world, hey, when it was first announced, Josh Hart and Mikal put out that tear coming down his eyes, like, man, you guys are lucky you're together and I'm out here in Phoenix. So now he's with the Nets. Like you said, I doubt there would be a 3-team trade with a crosstown rival like that, but you could always hope. And although there was another guy in that slam dunk contest last night, Trey Murphy, I wouldn't mind as another prize that we go after.
Yeah, and I didn't know he was so smooth with the dunks as well. I was pretty impressed.
You're not kidding.
I knew he was a shooter. I knew he could play lockdown defense, but I didn't know he had bungees like that.
Exactly, at 6'9", so he is literally the prototype. That 7'2" wingspan like we love on Bridges and stuff like that. So we'll see this front office, but that's really one of the missing pieces. We get a lockdown 3. Herb Jones, even if he's not the offensive threat that Trey is, he's a real lockdown guy. So hopefully unfortunately, there's not a step in 3 in this draft. This draft, and we'll talk about a little later, folks, they're projects. It's about 2 or 3 years, and hopefully they'll realize their potential to be something, good for a team and maybe even special, but nothing right out of the chute this year. So either we get somebody that's a proven NBA player and give up some draft choices, and that may be the most prudent thing to do, than bring on some kids that it's going to take a couple of years for them to gel.
And a project player and Tom Thibodeau don't exactly mix. So
we
wouldn't be a match made in heaven for a guy that's a project player.
There's only one exception, and that we've seen. If that person, and we'll touch on it a little later, has off the chart defensive capabilities.
And Tibbs loves that.
Yeah, so meaning, all right, Jalen's going to be shooting, Randall be shooting, RJ be shooting. This guy's locked down, so usage-wise, he may fit in if he could play crazy defense.
Yep. I can't even see my own stuff on the screen going on here. All right, so Foxy, let's pivot into the next topic we want to talk about, and we want to compare this team to the team that was the fourth seed 2 years ago, and just to see if there's any similarities and what this team would have to do in order to put themselves in a similar position. So I'm going to put on screen just how we ranked up or how we rank up against the 2020 2021 version of ourselves. So as you can see, for the most part, a lot of similarities. Well, offensively, I think we're doing a little bit better this year in certain areas, like 3 point attempts. We're getting more threes up, which is good. Also, more 3 points made, which is good. I think that was something we said coming into the season. We wanted this team to take more threes. Even though a lot of people said we were, bereft of shooting, but the way that the league is going, you still have to put some threes up in order to, stick with other teams. And as long as their quality looks, you'll live with them. You just have to have these guys make them. So anything that really sticks out to you, Foxy, from this?
Yeah, it's that 3 point percentage that from third to 23rd. That's why we were hoping that the guys that are not shooting that we just showed the season stats that are shooting a little below that league average that they could pick it up so we could match what we did. But like you said, field goal attempts we're 10th this year versus 26, so we're there. It's just a couple of those things, and you saw the team that played so well and made the playoffs a couple of years ago. We were 29th in 2 point percentage, so we're better there, but in the paint, as we know.
That's
So
Brunson right there. That's a Brunson
that's
effect.
Brunson right there, and also Josh Hart. We'll see in the future. He finishes 70% at the rim, so they're going to be killers. And also we've missed Mitch, who all of his shots are basically dunks, so it's going to be a great 2 point percentage right there also. So yeah, so that's what jumps off of me. Those 3 point, but it's funny from a math perspective that from a made, it's not even one. It's a .03 difference between what was made when we made the playoffs and what we're making now. 11.8 versus 12.1.
Yeah, and we're shooting 5 more attempts.
And 5 more attempts.
Yeah, so definitely an area we got to improve on. And if you look at it defensively, for the most part, we still locking teams up. Field goals made. That's been an increase from 37.9 to 40.4, but still we're sixth in the league in field goals made. Field goal attempts, a lot teams are putting up a lot of shots against us in terms of comparing to the other teams in the league. We were fifth there. Now we're at 18th with 88.7. A field goal percentage, we're still doing pretty decent. We were the number one in 2021 in field goal percentage. Now we're third. And then you look at the 3 point percentage. Defense, of course, the opposing teams were shooting 33.7% from three against us last year, and now they're shooting 34.7% from three. So they are shooting better, but compared to other teams in the league, we're still top five. So Foxy, anything jump out to you on this one?
Folks, we're there defensively. We have a couple little tweaks, and especially with Josh here these last 22 games. But on the defensive side, we know in the playoffs, it's about defense. So our defense peaks at the right time. We're there. The numbers are there 2 years ago. So we sit on the offensive side. If we could pick up on that 3 point and play New York Knicks style, New York type of defense, yeah, we could be dangerous, man. We're there. Look at those numbers for 2 years ago. We're there.
And then that's what we lived off of our defense a couple years ago. That's what got us into the playoffs. Everything we kind of shit the bed when we actually did enter that first round series against the Hawks. But I think defensively, these numbers are actually, I think, are going to end up trending up too, because the majority of these numbers were before we got a guy like Josh Hart. And you look at a guy like Tom Thibodeau, if he sees us slipping defensively, he's going to make the proper adjustments. And now he has players on that bench that he can look to and have some, faith in when he's going to put them in, that they're going to lock up defensively, whether that's going to be Josh Hart, Quentin Grimes, even Deuce. I'm pretty sure if there's moments where he feels Deuce can step up and do something for us defensively, he'll be able to go and put him in. So we
And
have
also,
the pieces. Go
and
ahead.
also one of the biggest is somebody gets past the point of attack. Mitch, that
Yeah, when he
secondary
returns.
line of defense, that's going to be huge. So Josh, like you just said, Keith, and the other guys, and plus getting Mitch back to play Mitch's game. Yo,
But even
Dangerous.
even without Mitch, I think you look at a guy like Ihart. He's been playing solid
Solid.
defensively. He's been a defensive anchor in his absence, and I like the fact that we've been starting Sims, having Ihart come off the bench, but then Ihart still plays the majority of minutes at that position. So I think if you look at the way we're constructed at that center position, whether we say can't wait till Mitch comes back. But imagine now you have a guy like Mitch that's going to be a major upgrade defensively from Jericho Sims, and now you have a guy like Ihart who's really stepping up defensively. This team is going to be locked down. Teams are not going to want to face us towards the end of the season when they're trying to battle for position. And come playoff time, where the game slows down, and you've got guys like Mitchell Robinson and Ihart Park, packing the paint and making life difficult for those drivers. This team is going to be someone that is going to spoil, I think, other teams' playoff aspirations.
Go New York, go New York, go.
Go, yes, sir.
Go. Yep, man. I can't wait.
You and me both. Let's go to the next slide. Now, a lot of times we mention effective field goal percentage, and we wanted to put this slide together just to, everybody doesn't know how effective field goal percentage is calculated. So we wanted to put that together just to let you guys know what it is that goes into calculating the effective field goal percentage. So it's pretty much all field goals made plus 0.5 times 3-point field goals made divided by all field goal attempts. And the reason you do the 0.5 times the 3-point field goals made is because 3-pointers account for 3 points, 2-pointers account for 2 points, which is pretty much a 50% increase. So that would give you your effective field goal percentage. And right now, the Knicks have an effective field goal percentage of 52.9. I think we mentioned it a little bit earlier. That's right around 24th in the league?
It is 24th.
24th in the league. And also here we have on the bottom, the more 3-point shots made, the better the effective field goal percentage. And the reason we wanted to just give this quick breakdown of what effective field goal percentage is because we're going to compare it to what the team did, to what the team did 2 years ago. So as you can see, for the most part, we're almost an identical team.
So anything's possible, folks. So look at that. And you listen to Tibbs, the one of the metrics that he talks about is effective field goal percentage, because field goal percentage, you don't know what goes into that. The minute you say effective field goal percentage, they know immediately whether you're a good 3-point shooting team or not, just right off the bat by looking at that. And the crazy thing is, like he said, we're 24th in the league. You know who's 23rd in the league? The Memphis Grizzlies. So with Ja, with Desmond Bane, with all those guys there, they're 23rd. So yeah, we're there. So if we made the playoffs a couple of years ago with this type of thing, just tighten up a touch more now with Mitch back and Josh and everybody else. Yeah, we're almost virtually identical.
Virtually identical. And now we got some hitters too. So in those close games, we got a guy like Jalen Brunson that can get you a bucket. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, performer in clutch situations this season. So we just got to stay close, try to grind it out. And then when you have a guy like Brunson that can get you a big bucket, you'll be in a position to win.
Exactly. And him getting fouls, even if you don't get the bucket, he gets those fouls. He's wonderful.
What's his free throw percentage this season? Like 80 something?
I think 83 right? And change. I'll tell you in a sec. It is 83.8. So I knew this old brain still could think.
Right. Honestly, we should have remembered it because we literally just just talked about it like 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, but
it is.
I'm an old stoner. I don't remember 2 minutes ago.
Me, and I took too many hits to the head playing.
I took just too many hits. Yo, hey, we got 153 in the chat. Do us a favor. Do us a favor. Please hit that like. How many likes do we have? We have 55, folks. We always talk about YouTube being crazy and their algorithm. The 100 mark is so much, as we always say, it doesn't cost you a thing. Please take a second now if you're during the show. You can see the slides behind the scenes. We're in the lab all week, Keith and I, trying to put together thought-provoking content for you. Please hit that like. If you have subscribed, thank you so much. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe. As we always say, it's the one-stop shop for all Knicks news, rumors, and analysis. If you can't catch it live, shout out to the replay gang. We love chopping it up with you. And last but not least, shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do.
Yep, facts. Definitely do appreciate all the hard work. We got a few mods in the chat right now. We surveyed 100 people. Thank you for tuning in. Canal, all you guys, we really do appreciate the help you do, making sure that the chat stays clean and nobody pulls up soliciting any kind of foolishness. All
Exactly.
right, so let's move forward. So we've got 22 games left in this season, and right now we're currently sixth. And I believe, what are we, 4.5 games behind? The Cavs, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, let me put up the NBA standings. So we're about 4.5 games behind the Cavs. What are we going to have to do in these next 22 games, in your opinion, if we're going to, try and get to that top 4 seed?
It's all about metrics. It's about our defense. So if we, we'll get into in a few minutes. There's a magic formula so far that we found for this season of holding our opponents to a certain score. That hitting our 3-point shots and just being fundamentally sound, boxing out, moving that ball. Don't get ISO heavy. And I think Tibbs has a lot to do with it, man. Whoa! Thank you for watching. Ho ho!
I messed that one up.
Whoa! So it's been a pleasure, folks. We love you. And before we get into you want to do a couple of super chats, or you want to just get into this now?
Oh, we got a super chat?
I think, or two.
Oh, yes, we did. Thank you for that, Foxy. We got a super chat from Buzzer Beater. It says, what are your guys' prediction for the last 22? And this is a perfect segue because that's what we're getting into right now. So let me see if I can pull up the Knicks schedule. So we have 22 games left. I don't want to just throw out a blanket number without actually seeing who we have to go up against. I know in the first week of March, we got a real tough start. So let's see. So our first game back will be against the Wizards. And we got games against the Pelicans, Boston, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston, Charlotte, Sacramento, Clippers, Lakers, Portland, Denver, Mini. So if I had to, so let me run it off right now. So Wizards, I got that as a win. What about you, Foxy?
Same.
Pelicans, no Zion. I'm assuming he'll still be out, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that's a win.
Yeah.
Boston, we won't be biased. We'll say that's a loss. So 2-1. Brooklyn, we just beat them. So say 3-1. Miami, they're gonna get Kevin Love. That's a big acquisition. Still gonna beat them. 4-1. Boston, I don't know if we're gonna lose back to back. I say we win 5-1. What about you, Foxy?
We beat them a couple of weeks ago, man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
5-1. Charlotte, 6-1. Sacramento, let's say 6-2. Clippers, let's say 6-3, but we beat the Lakers 7-3. Portland, 8-3. Denver, 8-4. Minnesota, 9-4. Miami, I said we beat them before, so let's say 9-5. Orlando, 10-5. Houston, 11-5.
That didn't take long.
Yeah, that didn't take long one bit with what they're doing out there. Let's say 11-6. Cleveland, let's say 11-7. Washington, 12-7. Indiana, 13-7. New Orleans, you can pick this one, Foxy.
14,
and then the Pacers again.
15-7.
So 15-7. There you go. We got us going 15-7 to close the season. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah, fingers crossed, but it's not like we really have their fingers crossed. If they play the way they've been playing with Mitch coming back, with Josh and everything else, that's very real, man. Very real outcome for us. So hopefully that answered your question, Buzzer Beater. Thanks again for the super chat. We greatly appreciate your generosity. And we got one from Mr. Eddie F.
Yep. Eddie F says, Foxy, as Quicksilver Messenger Service said, ooh, you have another hit.
Yeah, he's playing my rock and roll music. So thank you, Eddie F. So I love my rock and roll. So, yep. Thank you so much, man.
Yep. Thank you for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. So, Foxy, you said we had to up our 3-point percentage for the year. And also, we got to be a top 7 team in defense. If I'm not mistaken, the last few championship winning teams are all, top 10 in
Yep,
defense.
they were.
Yep. So we also have to. I moved too fast. Whoops. There we go. All right. We have
Gotcha. Move
to,
too fast.
and we also have to up our free throw percentage. And one of the major things is we got to start moving the ball and limiting ISO situations. I think when we move the ball, the team is extremely dangerous. You got guys like Quentin Grimes when people are trying to close out, he can either knock down the three or he can put the ball on the floor and make something else happen. So same thing with a guy like Emmanuel Quickly. If we keep the ball moving and keep defenders guessing, it really opens up a lot of things for this team. And then you add the fact that you have a guy like Josh Hart who's great at cutting. If we stop getting so ISO heavy, I think you're going to see that a lot of these wins we're getting are going to be a lot easier. And we have the talent to do so. We got good passes. Jalen Brunson, he's a solid passer. Julius Randle, we get on him. He's a decent passer when he has his head up and he makes a quick decision. Same thing with Emmanuel Quickly. RJ Barrett, he's shown to be a decent playmaker when he runs that second unit. So just stop trying to go so ISO heavy and just trust your teammates. We see this camaraderie being built in that locker room. Just continue to trust your guys out there and move the rock.
Yeah, that, and they have to anticipate. We know the recipe that's coming our way, folks, in these critical games in the season, and especially when it comes playoff time. They're going to throw length at Jalen Brunson. They're going to be a long defender on him. They're going to double Randall, and they're going to make RJ shoot from the outside. And worst case scenario, they're going to pack the paint and make this whole team shoot from the outside. Mm-hmm. So we know Jalen could drop them. That's why hitting those shots are huge. But really, one of the biggest things is that first bullet point, folks. The Tibbs minutes management. I can't get it. It's etched in my brain 2 years ago of watching Randall, watching D Rose and a few of the other guys. They were just exhausted. They had nothing left for that Atlanta series. And so please, man, sometimes things happen. So maybe you feel a little more secure with Sims coming in there. And then, so you have three guys keeping them fresh at the 5 position. You have Josh Hart now, and please bring down those minutes so we're a lot fresher when it comes. And like we have here, hey, the defending champions, Golden State Warriors, have a 12-man rotation. And like we said, it doesn't have to be 10 minutes, and it could be 4 minutes. And sometimes that's the difference between Julius having something left in the tank in crunch time or not. So Tibbs minutes management is going to be critical. And Keith's already brought up, some of our concerns of his historical lack of mid-game adjustments in key games, especially in playoffs. So hopefully having, he has two coaches on that court now. He has Brunson and he has Josh Hart. Josh is his nickname is Josh Barkley. He will be barking at his teammates, telling them their defensive rotation, where you're supposed to be. No, I got him. Go there. So as long as he can keep those guys fresh, and we just saw the stats on defense. We're there, folks. With Mitch coming back and us just being tighter on our switches and stuff like that, and also whomever's not playing well. So if RJ's not matching up well, got to bench him. You have it. You have the other guys that could cover for him, and it's nothing against RJ. It's about us being a winning team. So if he can't play the defense we need for a stop, then hopefully Tibbs is going to, and he's shown he is willing to do that. So that ISO point that you said, that's going to be, hopefully those guys will be moving the ball. And like we said, we don't want a 3-point shot. We want an open 3-point shot. We want the best shot. So keep moving that ball for that. And God willing, everything, like we said, will peak at the right time, and that we're going into the playoffs with that, that New York look on our face, like we're about to beat your ass. Come on, bring it.
Yeah, Nick Yak says a 9-man rotation with only one player in top 25 in minutes, and we are winning. Tibbs is not going to an 11-man rotation. I wouldn't say it has to be 11-man per se, but there's times where Tibbs says these players are situational, and then there's situations where you can use them to benefit the team and you don't use them. I think what we're trying to say is, if you want to have the tighter rotation, 9-man rotation, that's cool. But if there's a situation that presents itself where you can put in a guy like a Deuce, maybe you want to, I guess, put in Fournier for his 3-point shooting situation, where at least you match up correctly and expand the rotation as needed. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to go crazy and go up and down the rotation and have everybody playing 10, 15 minutes or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
Just use them in situations where they can help this team out. And I think if he does that, we're going to find ourselves in a lot of games where we'll be able to win.
Yeah, and also minutes allocation. Maybe you don't play with Julius the whole third quarter. So he doesn't have anything. So maybe you have the same minutes, but break them up a little differently, so there's something left in the tank. We have another super chat.
Yep, from Paris Thugger. Thank you for the support. Says, and advance the ball up quickly. Advance the ball up court quickly for easy opportunities. Yeah, we got to push the pace. We showed the stats. The team is still towards the bottom of the league in terms of pace. I think with the way this team is situated now, with a guy like Josh Hart who can push the ball up the court, Emmanuel quickly. Hart, he's a good passer. He can outlet and things like that. We should be pushing the ball up a little bit more quickly.
Yeah. Hi, Parrish. Hope all is well with you and the family. But that's a great observation. Last game against the Hawks, we had 30 fast break points. I know the Knicks, we had 17 against the Utah, 18 fast break points against the Jazz. We only had 10 against the Nets. But that's a nice trending up. So I agree with you. And also on that second team, Parrish, I really like iHeart's long passes to get the team going in transition. Keep his head up and get those guys running, man.
Yeah, he's like our little version of Kevin Love with the outlet passes.
Yep.
Once again, thank you for the support. We really do appreciate it. Let's jump into the next slide now. So we're still going to do some more comparison between this team and the 2021 Knicks. And we said the 3-point percentage, something that has to be, increased. And I know a lot of people might look at it and say 38% might be a little bit too much, but look at what this team shot in 2020, 2021 when we went to the playoffs. You had Derrick Rose shooting 41.1% from the 3-point line. You had RJ shooting 40.1% from the 3-point line. You had Bullock, Randall, and Burks all shooting over 41%. If you can round Burks up to 42%. And then you had IQ, who was shooting right around 39% from three. Now you look at what we're shooting this year. You have Brunson, who's leading the pack at 41.1% from three, but he's the only guy that's above 35%. You got RJ at 32.3, Grimes at 34.8, Randall 33.8, J Hart 34.1, and then you got IQ at 35.2. So we need this team to start knocking down their 3-point shots if you want to make some noise in the playoffs. I think we can continue to shoot like this and still be solid for the rest of the season. But if we really want to make some noise come playoff time and see how far we can go, we're gonna need these guys to have an uptick in their 3-point shooting.
We're really confident with Hart, Mitch coming back, and just the team meshing together. You see them liking each other, that we're going to be cool on defense. But like he said, if we want to, scare the shit out of this league, first round, possibly second round, it's the 3-point. We thought just visually we talk about, but sometimes when you see, it's like, whoa, wow, I knew that we did well, but so it's really, like we said, smart shots, get those shots, and if they start falling, wow, we're going to be having some great Sports Vibe TV shows going forward, folks. Hey, by the way, where's the place to be?
Sports Vibes TV. You already know.
That's a Snapple fact.
Yeah, put that on a shirt. All right, let's look at the next slide. Now let's compare what we're doing this year to what the Mavs did last year. Now the Mavs, they had a Cinderella moment, I guess. They got to the Western Conference Finals.
Peaked at the right time.
And they had a guy on our current team in Jalen Brunson that was helping to lead them to the Western Conference Finals. And if the Knicks want to make a similar Cinderella run, I just wanted to compare what we're doing now to what the Mavs did and see what we would have to improve if we want to at least be in a similar position. So you look at the points, 4 at 114.6. We're doing better than the Mavs did. Defensively, though, is where you really saw the Mavs step up, and that's what helped fuel them and they're running to the Western Conference Finals. So you see points, opponent points. We give up 112.3. Last year, the Mavs only gave up 104.7. You look at the defensive rating. Mavs last year, 109.6, which was sixth best in the league. Defensive rating right now is 114.4, which is 16th best in the league. You look at defensive effective field goal percentage, 52.1, which was sixth best in the league. And, we're right there at defensive effective field goal percentage at 52.8, which is fourth best in the league. So if we can, tidy up the defense a little bit more, I think this team will be in a good spot to try and have a similar run to end the season.
Yeah, and folks, that the batter on the bottom is one of the keys to our season. We're 24-1 when we hold the opponent under 110 points. So yeah, we just saw what Mavs did. If we can hold these teams going forward like that, we have too much of a sample size. That's not an anomaly. That's a trend analysis. So when you have this many games and you're 24 and one when doing it, that's the target. That's 110 on the blackboard with Tibbs and circling it 3 times. Like that's what we got to do. Every possession is the difference between us winning a game and making to this playoffs and getting the seed we want for the best matchup, so we can go as far as we can. So remember that, folks. 110 points, 24 and one.
Yep. So that means we've only won what, 7 games in which we didn't hold the team under 110 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can do that, and for the rest of the 22 games, just keep an eye on how many points the opposing team scores. And if we can continue this trend, in the postseason, this is going to be what we're going to have to do in order to advance. Play lockdown defense and be efficient shooting the ball.
Yeah, I think it's 9 games that 9 games. I think we have 33.
You're right. 33. All right, so let's go to the next slide. We're talking about the Mavs. And we actually hold the Mavs first round pick. So right now, if the season were to end, we'd end up getting the 18th overall pick in the draft for the Dallas Mavericks. So in this stream, we asked Foxy to bring forward another prospect to look at and, see who would be available potentially there for us to pick.
Yeah, folks. So a week ago, I brought up a kid, Trevon Brazil, and I called him a stash pick, where because of the lineup, because of Tibbs, that the kid could come in and he heard, I said last week that OG Anunoby was a 23rd pick. He was going to be a top 5 pick. Had an ACL injury in college, dropped to 23rd. I think the same thing is going to happen to Trevon Brazil out of Arkansas. So this week, it's a similar thing, a stash pick, but it's about credentials. And the person is Rayon Rupert. He's out of France. He's playing in the same league that Josh Giddey and Ousmane Dieng played for the New Zealand Breakers in the NBL. Just watched him. He missed about 2 months with a wrist injury, and he just came back. But he is smooth. He has fantastic. He's unbelievable. His defensive upside is off the chart. Mikal Bridges, like that 7'3" wingspan, unbelievably quick lateral movement, great feet, very quick hands. So defensively, we know at this point, he's a D, but he has nice form and stuff like that. And that 38.7, folks, that we have on the field goal percentage, he's a $190. So it's the same thing what happened to Trey Murphy his first year and stuff. That when these wings come out at 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", they're eating it up. The NBA, they're men, they're not boys. So it's very difficult for them to hold their spots on both sides of the floor. So he'll get stronger. So a year of him getting stronger in the G League, him getting on the right weight program, the right. But you can't teach that 7'3" wingspan. You can't teach that quickness, that athleticism that he has. So he is literally a prototype 3-and-D. So if we can pick him up and say, hey, we got a type team. We know who Tibbs is. But a year from now, we develop him right. Then all of a sudden, but like we said earlier, he has outstanding defense. So we don't see anything, but things happen. This is the type of guy, the type of defense he plays. He plays elite defense. I saw him on a possession. He just got back on switches. I'm telling you, the guards shitting their pants. He's that dangerous. Stealing the ball from that 7'3" wingspan. He's unbelievably disruptive in the passing lanes. So this is somebody that's on the radar as we have the player comparison. Happened to be another French bloke in Nick Batum. The same thing, the same size, that long thing, the 3 and stuff like that. So this is definitely somebody that don't be surprised. And also don't be surprised he goes before we pick, because this is like Ousmane Dieng a year or so ago. He went 11th to OKC. So people see this and they're like, you know what? I'm patient for a couple years, but he has everything to be special. Some of the other guys, they're just role players. Sometimes you're like saying, you know what? This guy has a chance to be even more than a role player. So especially if that 3-point shot drops with those defensive upside, he's a lockdown. He has lockdown defender capabilities, and you can't. I'm looking at this draft and stuff. There's a whole lot of role players, but not a lot of lockdowns.
Only thing that makes me skeptical is, we haven't had much success with Frenchmen, whether that be Frank Nitti or Evan Fournier. That's the only thing that would make me a little bit skeptical.
I'm with you. I felt the same exact way, but Gobert, Tony Parker, Batum there. There are some guys, and the first pick this year is going to be another French guy, Wembayama, so I think that, they'll go through hopefully our scouts and everything and see the dog in him, or he's the type of guy, but watching him on defense, you have to want to play defense. And so that dog in him playing the defense that he's playing, and also French national, he plays for the French national team. So we'll see. I had the same feeling though. It's like French, I don't know, but it's better than trading for a second round pick. That sometimes you just want to swing for the fences. It doesn't work out. All right, it doesn't work out. But he had all the credentials. He had the measurables to maybe turn out to be that wing that we've been looking for.
We have a question here from Francisco Carrillo. It says, does he compare to Jeremy Sochan?
Great question. Jeremy is shocking the hell out of me, folks. Especially the last game that we played against San Antonio, him at the perimeter, his defense is spectacular. So I knew he was going to be good on D. I just didn't think his offensive game was going to come around as quick as it has. But Francisco, hope all is well with you and the family. Great question. I think he may be a little more athletic than Jeremy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's more of a 3, so he has that quickness of a 3, where Jeremy has great quickness for a 4.
Copy. Also, we surveyed 100 people. Says we still have Rokas. Yeah, we still got Rokas.
Yo, do a shout out for your short.
Oh, yeah. If you want to see Rokas and what he's been doing over there in Europe, I do have a short on the channel. Just make sure you head over to the main page. It should be down there with the other shorts. He had a nice buzzer beater step back 3 that was real nice, and he's been balling over there for Barcelona. So will he be coming over? Highly doubt it, especially with Tom Thibodeau as coach, and you've got Jalen Brunson cooking, you've got Emmanuel quickly cooking. We got a lot of guards on this team, so I don't know if the Knicks can guarantee him what he wants for him to make that transition. So for now, I think he's going to be cooking in Europe and potentially be trade bait either this offseason or sometime next year.
Yeah, folks, we went over his stats last week, just Keith's giving an update about from the floor, from 3, from the foul line. And then you see him with a step back game winner, ice in his veins.
Mm-hmm.
You love to see that, where somebody's not afraid to take that last shot and step back. And he's like I said, he's Lithuanian are tough guys, man.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So great question. He keeps doing the step back 3s at the buzzer. We're going to be getting a lot of phone calls about him.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? We're probably getting phone calls now.
And by the way, I don't know if Keith Turner's in the draft, but you got it wrong, my friend. I don't mean anything. You come onto the channel, in the chat, we appreciate, but we need you to do your homework. That's all we ask. But on the review of the show last week, you kept saying we don't own the rights. We don't own the rights. We don't. Don't you love us? Don't you think we do our homework? We have his rights. So please don't, everyone, don't put any false stuff in it. Don't troll us that way, because it distracts from the work and also putting out the information for, our family, SV Nation. So no, the Knicks absolutely have Rokas Jokubaitis' draft rights.
And Knicks 100 a game asks, does he even start yet? Do you mean Rokas? Because Rokas has been starting since Barcelona's, I think, main point guard went down sometime almost 2 years ago. Sometime in 2021, I think their starting point guard went down, and Rokas had to assume the starting point guard positions.
Yeah, but it's a different game over there. You don't walk in and play 30 minutes over in Europe like that. You go through a process. So he's just playing that process. But like we said, he won their Rising Star award last year. And you know who won that also? Luka. So he's in really good company and hitting those step back winners. Yo.
Thanks. All right.
I see a question from Manchild. What do you think of Grady Dick? It's Dick, not Dickie. Manchild, hope all is well with you and the family. I was just talking to my friend Derek about this. Shout out to D's World of Hoops. Great show. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my buddy. I think I see Evan Fournier in him. Great 3-point shooter. But once you put heat on him, you put a defender on him, he's not the same player, and he's terrible on defense. So he's going to be a really good open 3-point shooter, but if he's not open, he's a different player. But he has great measurables, 6'8", beautiful stroke, but no defense. That's going to be hard for him to get minutes in the NBA.
You disrespecting my guy Evan Fournier, because Evan Fournier is knocking down a three in your face guarded and unguarded. The difficult shots are the ones you got to watch out for. Evan Fournier, him
That's
leaning
true.
out of bounds, it's like, what's going on? How does guy make that?
That's true. That's true. He has hit some really good ones.
Really
Also,
good
shout out to my buddy Danny Landis. Hope all is well with you and the family.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in. So far, we've got a decent amount in chat. We've already up to 170 roughly in chat. Only got 88 likes. Do us a solid. We're getting towards the end of the show. Try and get us over that 100 threshold.
Please get us that 100. Please, please, please.
Man, Chai said Rokas is a lefty also. Yeah, that would be what, 4 lefties on the squad?
Yeah, now we just need to get Herbert Jones as our lockdown defender, and we'll have a lefty for every position. Especially
teams wouldn't know how to defend us. They'll be forcing us to our dominant.
Everybody's stopping us from going left.
Yeah, salute to still Knicks fans. Thank you for tuning in and supporting.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
Really do appreciate it. Bodega Wi-Fi. Thank you for tuning in.
Yo, I love Bodega Wi-Fi. Thanks for stopping by. He's a day one guy. I know him for years. You know, I love you, Bodega. Hope all is well with you and the family. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, my friend.
Canal says trade him to Toronto with RJ and Obi. I'm guessing that's Rokas.
I'm not sure, but hi, Canal.
Yeah, I think Canal's talking about Rokas because 7:28. That's about 2 minutes ago. We would, knee deep into Rokas conversation. So I think he's saying we should trade him in a package with RJ and Obi. Yeah, I'm assuming we'd get OG in return. I think that's a lot. Trade RJ and Obi and Rokas for OG. I'll trade RJ for OG. Straight up, take it or leave it.
But like we said, we would never trade for OG because he'll be booking in about a year. He's a Clutch client, and we saw how we treated.
We got beef with Clutch.
Cam.
Yeah, we got hella beef with Clutch.
We have a beef with Clutch, so he'd say later in a year and sign elsewhere. So we don't want a rental. We want somebody like Mikal that wants to be here.
Yeah. Who's Mikel's agent? Is he AA?
I don't know if he's CAA, but he's definitely Brunson and Jay Hardy's Villanova through and through. So
let's see. They'll tell me. It's not showing me. It says Sam something. Sam and Jordan, but they won't give me the last name. Like I'm about to reach out to Mikal Bridges' representatives. Yeah, let's have him on the stream. See if he wants to be a Knick, right? Send him an email real quick.
Yeah, Jeff Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure who they're affiliated with. I know Mintz is CAA. I know a lot of the CAA guys, but I'm not sure who these guys are. So anybody, sometimes it's hard for us to go off that way. Let me just see.
What you call it? Knicks 100 said Rokas lost my support with that diva-ish. Listen, I don't think it's diva, because if you look at the reason why he decided to stay, it wasn't just because he wasn't going to be guaranteed an opportunity. You had a guy like Sarunas Jasikevičius saying that he was going to work with him to become the best point guard he could be. So to him, it makes more sense to just stay in Europe and play under a coach that's putting their all into you, investing their all into you, so you can become the best player that you can be, than coming over here to a foreign country with a coach who really has no investment in you personally, and you're already behind a boatload of guards. It just makes more sense for him to stay in Europe. I can't fault him for that. He'd come over here, get no minutes. He's a young guy, and these years from age 16 to like 22, 23, these are your developmental years as a basketball player. So would you prefer to play and get some minutes in Europe where they're playing similar level ball, or would you want to come off the bench and you're only really getting play time and
also shuttling to Westchester?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because they probably be sending him to some G League games. At that
Exactly.
point,
And he's like, what the
better
hell
off
am I
staying
going to
in
do?
Europe.
Either I make your squad and be a member of that team, or I'm staying here in Barcelona.
Hmm. So yeah, I wouldn't call it diva per se. He just did what's best, what's best for him in his career as a player. And it works out for us too, because if he does come over, he'll be a better version of himself, as opposed to him. Because I wouldn't say the Knicks do a great job developing young talent for the most part. So let him stay over there in Europe and get better as a player.
Exactly. King Ja, hope all is well. He says, I wouldn't give up 3 first-round picks for OG. That would be crazy, and especially for a rental. King Ja.
Yeah,
So
the most I would have did for OG would have been a protected first and then unprotected first. That would have been it. Let's see. Fabian Williams says RJ for Bridges straight up. I doubt the the Nets would do that, especially with us being in the same city.
I
They
agree.
already have
Wish.
egg on their face with the KD trade and with the Kyrie situation.
And
So
the
they're gonna,
Harden.
yeah. Well, Harden not so much because
But
that
just
happened.
meaning draft assets and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Ace of Spades says, I don't blame him. Tibbs could break him. I wouldn't say Tibbs would break him, but he definitely stress him out.
Yeah, that, and I've been blessed by the Lord that I've been to Barcelona a lot of times in my business career, and that's a phenomenal city, man.
Is
Great.
it?
Oh my God.
Always wanted to go to Spain.
It's my second favorite city in the world, actually. I've traveled the whole world, and Barcelona, the culture, the food, the cleanliness. One of the weirdest things I ever saw was I was the back of a cab, and the guy was on a motorcycle in front of us at a red light, and I see him put down his kickstand. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? He walked over and picked up some litter and threw it into a trash, jumped back on his bike and took off. But the culture, the food, women, the beaches, it's a happening place, man. Great wine, great food, great women.
I got some coworkers teaching me Spanish, so once I'm up to par, I'm gonna head over there.
La comida es excelente, no es cara. The food is great and not too expensive there either.
All right, let's see. We got Man Child. He says sends RJ to the Pens or the Pels. I'm guessing his body.
Yo, now you're talking, Man Child.
I mean, I don't know if I'd send him straight up, but I need a little bit more alongside Trey.
Yeah,
definitely a good fit though.
Yeah, let's get a second round pick for him back since they're so valuable. We'll get Trey Murphy in a second. But Trey Murphy's young, shoots at, and what Keith was saying, look at that agility and that nastiness. He's had some really nasty dunks, facials against people. With Brunson and Josh and a few of the other guys, he'd be a really nice fit, Man Child. So winner, chicken dinner, Man Child, for the winning thing this week, man. And even if that didn't work out, like I said, Trey is much more of an offensive game, but I'd settle for Herb Jones.
Mm-hmm. And we surveyed 100 says, what's your favorite city?
New York. I love this city, man. I love New York. Best city in the world.
The HUD Eclipse. I'm from New York. Definitely best city in the world.
Love this. Been all over the world. Asia, South Korea, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, Europe, every city, South America. I've been all over the world, and New York is one. Barcelona's two. London's pretty happening though too.
That's a nice lineup.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more slide. We got a quick update on Mitchell Robinson. This is from Ian Bagley. Salute to Beggs. Says Mitchell Robinson hasn't been cleared for contact yet, but he's making progress. Robinson was on court with Othello Harrington a few minutes ago working out. Knicks will send people with Robinson during the All-Star break if he doesn't stay in New York during break to continue rehab. I don't know if they're sending people out there with them to help him rehab, or are they chaperones? Make sure he's doing what he's supposed to do.
I think the answer is D, all the above. So yeah, exactly. So, but that's smart. That's smart. They realize how key he is, and Mitch can be a little kooky sometimes, but somebody just aiding his discipline, that he comes back and that he's maybe on the bike and getting that cardio all ready for him to do these sprints on the court and stuff like that. So that's good basketball. That's good. That's good management, making sure that you're looking after an asset like Mitch that way to bring him back for this final run.
Yeah, they haven't said exactly when they expect him to return, or they said it was going to be after the All Star break. If he can come back by the 27th, fingers crossed, against that game, against Boston, I think that'd be a big game for us. We could definitely use him going up against Robert Williams, Jason Tatum. You would assume Jalen Brown would be healthy by then because he's trying to come and play in tonight's game. So for Mitch to come back then, I think is when we really, really need him. Monday, February 27th. Because right then, after that, we've got Brooklyn, Miami, Boston, Charlotte, and then Sacramento.
Exactly. Come on, Mitch. Like I said, talk to the NFL and stuff. Make a special thing for that thumb. It reached a level now. He's been, but hopefully being cleared, get a thing on that thumb to keep it in place. So, God forbid he hits somebody, and stuff like that, that it stays okay, it stays safe. But we need you, Mitch. Get back. Don't listen to what Info says.
I gotta have info, man. We keep cracking jokes on him. You gotta defend himself.
Inf, I'm sorry, man.
It's all good. He's enjoying the season so far with the team, with the way the team is playing. He's been happy. Yeah. All right, so we'll wrap it up here. Definitely had a dope stream. The game should be starting in about 20 minutes. Anything you want to mention before we wrap it up?
Yeah, thanks, folks. Again, as you see, we were in the lab this week. We put a lot of time into, thought-provoking stuff that we don't know, that really makes you think, and like, hey, we're in a pretty good spot. We're in a really, if we could pick up the 3-point shot, we're there defensively. Josh Hart and the other guys. So the only thing is that, like, folks, we just need a few more likes. So, please, 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 we don't ask much. It doesn't cost anything. If you haven't hit that like, do us a favor. Let us go out with that 100 number. We really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. But thank you so much. Do you have the schedule in front of you? What's next Sunday's? Are we cool next Sunday?
Next Sunday would be, we're cool next Sunday. We got a game Friday against the Wizards, game Saturday, and then we can always do our stream right between the game Saturday and the game Monday. So we got.
So, folks, we're back at what? 6 is cool with you?
6 is cool with me.
So same SVTV time, same SVTV channel. So just like Batman, we'll be back.
Yep. Or like I'll be back.
I'll be back.
So thank you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. We didn't get to the 100 threshold, but it's all cool. The replay squad will help get us over. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Till next time, I'm Keith, joined as always by my co-host Stephen Fox. We're out.
Love ya.